Usually, window elements are very light. They're placed on a table by hand and then the pane is fitted into the element. We know from experience that panes are becoming increasingly large and heavy. Normally, you can place the pane on the table by hand or with an industrial suction device, but most small manufacturing companies don't have an industrial suction device. So what can I use to help me? We offer the right tool for the job, the GMG 350 with a 350 kilogram lifting capacity. Now we want to pick up this pane. First, we need to make sure the suction frames are the right size. It's important when setting down a pane to achieve the largest possible suction frame surface area. Here, that's very easy to do. For this purpose, there's an adjustment handle that's very easy to open by hand, to reposition and to lock in place. This pane measures 1.5 meters tall and 2.5 meters long. At the front of the device, you can see a manipulator. It has a stroke of 500 millimeters, so you can move it up and down, and a side shift of 100 millimeters. We will need these two functions later for the window assembly, for production, and eventually to get the end position of the element into the opening. You could adjust the element to the panes, but it doesn't make much sense to do that. Usually the element is in place and then I have my hands free to work the device, and I can also position this pane there. By extending the arm, we can now move the suction system towards the pane and switch on the pump to suction the pane. You can see how easy it is to operate the device. The glass is supported on our glass transport wagon. This is an HT 700 from our range with a shelf width of 110 millimeters. Now the pane is suctioned as far as possible. Now we just have to gently lift it, and now we're free. The glass transport wagon can be taken away. It's the same for you in assembly. Whether it's a glass transport wagon, mobile glass wagon, or a glass frame transporter, usually it's delivered on racks like these or in crates, taken out, and then it can be operated safely. You can operate very slowly here or quickly through several production halls in order to transport the pane from an external warehouse into the production hall. As you can see, we've a space set up here. In the production hall, we usually have a table height of 90 centimeters, but let's say 80 to 90 centimeters. I think that's a common measurement where you gradually reach the ISO standards of the Thermal Insulation Ordinance. Let's calculate it. We must clear a height of 90 centimeters. We also need 80 millimeters for the frame thickness, so we're at 98 centimeters. You need a certain safety distance. That means we go a few centimeters over, and now we have to get this position first time. You can do this using this manipulator, which we can easily pivot forwards, so there's no problem getting into final position over the element. You'll also notice that it's not easy to fit this pane and this frame, but it's wonderfully simple with the remote control. However, panes are often not prepared as well as they have been for this demonstration. You saw the plates lower upon release. This is done on purpose, since these plates must also be deflected for other lifting situations. You can also remove a complete window element from a table or transport it. Maybe you already knew this, but in a window pane there is a fixed element and a pane element. To be able to suction both at the same time, you have to be able to extend a lifting cylinder, either just one pane or the other pane, or both at the same time. If you want to suction both at the same time, one is extended and the other retracted. Now, we lie the pane flat, and of course we can use this wedge-shaped stem on the device to move it deeper. If you have an element with 4 corners, then it has to go in the middle point of the element. That means it has to be moved just as deeply over the element. The arm is no longer sufficient, so I can use the wedge-shaped device to drive under the table. So now we are roughly over the table. Now, of course, we can move the manipulator forwards and backwards. It's easy to operate. We move the manipulator back and forth. We can move the glass pane 500 millimeters over the element, and we also have the 10 centimeter side shift to achieve the approximate position. And the final function is eventually to lower the glass into the element. Just activate the function by remote control and steadily lower the arm. That's really it. All that's left to do are the molding and rubber sealing. With a large element, it's quite simple. With a small element, you'll probably release it from the suction plates, put in the moldings, put in the rubber sealant, suction it again to lift it, then move it to the next room and place it on the table to store for commissions prepared for pre-ordered customer deliveries. And that's it. Thanks for listening.
Cathedrals.